One of the most frequent questions I get, and a lot of writers get this question, is where do you get your ideas? I like what Harlan Ellison, the late Harlan Ellison, used to say. He finally got tired of answering this question. So whenever somebody would come up and say, where do you get your ideas? He'd say, Schenectady. And then they'd look at him, huh? And he'd say, yeah, there's an outfit in Schenectady. I send them $25. They send me 6 great ideas. And then the people would say, oh, give me the address. And then he'd storm off, as Harlan was wont to do anyway. Well, look, when it comes to ideas, my theory is that getting ideas is not the issue. It's deciding which ones to develop. And I teach writers creativity exercises because the brain, the imagination is like a muscle. And if you exercise it, it gets stronger. So there are a series of creativity exercises you can do. The most famous, of course, is what if. Ask yourself, what if? Whenever you read a news story that's interesting, or you see a billboard, or just a person on the street, just train your mind to ask, what if? What if? What if that person was a hitman? Or what if that woman is carrying around a national secret in her purse? Or what if that person isn't really a person, but an alien? And it doesn't really matter how many ideas you come up with or how silly they seem to you. It's all exercise. And sooner or later, you're going to come up with something that you really like. And then you capture those ideas and you develop them. Another game I like to play is the first line game. I'll sometimes just write interesting first lines. I wrote a line once that said, it's not every day you bleed to death. I didn't know what that meant, but then I kept thinking about it, and it finally developed into a novella called Framed. Another time I wrote, your son is alive. I didn't know what that meant or who said it or why, but I couldn't get that one out of my mind. And that became the opening line and indeed the title of one of my thrillers. Now, for these short stories that I'm doing in the pulp fiction style, I actually wrote a book called How to Write Pulp Fiction, and I decided to follow my own advice. In this book, I talk about Earl Stanley Gardner's plot wheel. He actually had a series of 8 or 9 cardboard wheels on which he had written lines like spokes with, for example, of characters, of settings, of situations. And then he would turn the wheels and the spokes would line up, and he'd take those elements and develop a plot from it. So what I did was kind of modified that. I took 5 elements of what I think would make a great story, and I put them in this book, and I call them first the act of, an opening setting, and I have a list of 70 settings under that. And then the act of villainy, I have a list of 82, things like abduction, assault, air piracy. I have 5 motives: money, power, revenge, sex, fame. I have hostile minor characters, a list of 24, and then plot twists, a list of 23. And so what I say in this book is go with each one of these lists, go to a random number generator. You can find this on Google and plug in the number that I've given you for each list. And then that'll give you a random selection on all 5 of these. And then you just put those 5 together and say, how can I develop a plot from this? It's a lot of fun. It's what I'm doing as I write these stories. And like I said, it really should be for you a matter of coming up with lots and lots of ideas if you're a writer, and then just say, which one of these excites me most? And then start to develop that further. And that's the answer to where do you get your ideas? See you next time.